Hello, I'm Lisa Logan, and this is The Greatest Comfort. That's the name of this website. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be talking about anxiety attacks. I just want to make sure that you have help for those. It's when you have something wrong and it's frightening you, anxiety attacks occur, and I'd like to do anything I can to keep that from happening with you. I just don't want you to have to go through that. And I happen to know all about them, and I have helped several hundred people not have them any longer over the years, and I had them back over 40 years ago when I was in my early 30s. But before we begin, I'd like to say the Lord's Prayer with you. I would like to have every single meeting, every time that I come to you and have a video with you, I would like to say the Lord's Prayer. This site is very special to me with you. You are very special. You're a gift I've been given, and it's true. Do you know that I'm not Catholic, but I certainly love Pope Francis, and what he says is that the three most hurtful, painful things that are going on in this world are war, hunger, also the loneliness of the older person. Your loneliness, your fear is very important to God. You're not being punished at all. You're not. No matter what is happening, God is not punishing you. God is nothing but love. He does nothing but adore you, and that is the truth. Now, if you are an atheist, it's perfectly okay. And if you are a Muslim, and if you are a Jain, is that what it's called? A Hindu? I'm so sorry if I'm not saying things right. It doesn't matter what words we use, we all love and are children of the same God. And God is light. God is the essence of light and love in the universe. Okay, so please say whatever prayer you want to, and I will say the Aramaic Lord's Prayer that I introduced to you in the last video, in the second video. Avun, O thou from whom the breath of life flows, who is everywhere and in everything, that is from sound, light, or vibration. May your light be experienced in my utmost holiest being as your spiritual domain comes closer. Let your will come true on earth as in the universe. Give us wisdom for our daily needs. Detach the faults that bind us, and let go of the guilt of others. Let us not be lost in superficial things, but let us be freed from that which keeps us from our true purpose. From you comes the will and the strength to act. From you comes the song that beautifies all and renews itself from age to age. Amen. And each time I have decided, and I feel that I'm supposed to, each time I'm here with you doing a video, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but each time I will be wearing a rosary with a crucifix on it, because that's what I do. But I'll be wearing it here. I'll have it on. Thank you, God. All right. This is about anxiety attacks. When I was 32 years old, I think, about then, I'd been looking forward to a program that was going to be on educational TV. And it was about 4 people who had been told that they had a terminal disease and that they were going to die. Maybe some of you remember it. I was looking forward to it not with joy, but because I was a therapist and I wanted to learn anything I possibly could. But, no, it's an and still at this point. And in that sequence of the 4 people, one of the people was a black minister. Sweet man. I loved him. I just felt it for him. There was either 1 or 2 women and another man. I remember that. You may remember more than I do of that tape. But that black man just touched my heart. And they filmed him as he and his wife were sitting across the desk from the doctor who told him that he had terminal cancer. And when he said it, when the doctor said it to him, he jerked. And he was a minister, by the way. He was a pastor. And he tried to compose himself. And it was a frightening thing to hear for him. At that moment, I began to cry for him. I was just so touched by his honesty. And then all of a sudden, my heart began to beat fast. And I began to breathe rapidly. And it frightened me, and it got worse. And I thought, I feel like I can make this go away. This is crazy. Why am I doing this? It began to subside, and then it would start again. And by 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, doesn't matter, in the middle of the night, I was scared. I was still awake. I told my husband, I said, if you want to call the ambulance and have them take me, it's okay with me. But at the same time, I said, no, I don't really need it. It's okay. And that was that. He said, why don't we call the hospital? Let's just call. And I did. I called. A nurse came on. And I said, my heart is pounding. I'm afraid I'm going to have a heart attack. And she said, okay, I understand. You're having anxiety attacks, and I know you don't understand that, but you're going to be okay. Just go see a doctor. Go see a doctor first thing in the morning. So I did. I didn't ever go back to sleep. My heart continued to pound, and I was there at the doctor's office waiting for him to show up. What the nurse said was, we have an opening this afternoon. You can come back and he'll see you. So, and I was okay. It was funny because as soon as she said that, my heart stopped pounding and I left and I was okay. And when I came back to the doctor's office that afternoon, what I said was, I guess I don't really need to be here because I'm okay. I don't know what it was, but I'm okay now. I don't need to see you. And he said, oh no. He said, okay. So I left. Then the next morning, I was back at it with my heart pounding. I went straight to his office. He saw me right away. And I said, I need help. Please do something. I think I might die. And he said, Yeah, it's not a good thing. I want you to begin to take Valium. Do you remember Valium? Well, my mother was a Valium addict. He couldn't have given me anything worse, because there was no way that I wanted to take the same thing that my mother had taken all those years. But he also gave me pills that would knock me out for 5 days. And they did. I would come to, I would eat, I would take another pill, I would go back to sleep. He said that would help me a lot. And then at the end of 5 days, I was to begin to take Valium. So I stayed knocked out for 5 days. My clients just had to do without me. And at the end of 5 days, I said, now I'm supposed to take Valium. I don't want to take Valium. It robbed me of having a mother all those years. I don't want to do it. So I didn't. And I read about anxiety attacks, and it says, take calcium, take B vitamins. I was taking so much calcium and so many B vitamins, it wasn't even funny. And I was exercising. All of a sudden, riding my bike to my office, then my husband would come when it was time for me when I'd seen all my clients, and he would put my bike in the back of the truck and bring me home. And it was quite something. It went on for a month. Scared me. I knew that an anxiety attack, I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew that it could happen at any time, and it scared me. And I remember one night, I've never forgiven this fellow. He was he was the husband of one of my girlfriends. She was stupid, married him. And she and he had come over, and I went into an anxiety attack as he was there, and he came up to me across the room and he said, you're a therapist. You ought to know better than this. What's wrong with you? And I went, out of my house. Right now, get out of my house. I'm not going to tell you his name. His wife knows. We've talked. She's his ex-wife now. She left him. Okay. Anyway, the other thing that I'm not saying is that during that month, I did not call my wise aunt. And I did not call her because I knew she'd say, are you okay? And she'd know I wasn't. And I didn't want her to know. I was ashamed. Actually, every time I saw a client, it helped me. Getting involved in their life kept me from having an anxiety attack while they were there. And they used to say, I need you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. You've really helped me. And I'd say, you don't know it, but you have helped me much more than I have helped you. I should be paying you for this session. So the month went by, and I hadn't talked to my aunt. And so finally, I called her every week. So finally I called her. Used to call her every week. She said, Lisa, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you called me? I said, I've just been really busy. She said, you tell me the truth. What is wrong with you? And I said, no. Everything's okay, Auntie. She said, it is not. Tell me the truth. So I said, okay. I don't know what's going on. My heart pounds and I breathe real fast. She said, your uncle and I have been waiting for you to do this for years. You have no idea. I will be sending you a book. We will have it flown up there. She lived down was she in Santa Monica then? Or she was in Mission Viejo. You all know that if you're from California. And I lived in Monterey. They had that book flown up to me. It arrived the next day. She said, read the book. I have had these anxiety attacks, Lisa. Don't worry anymore. You'll be fine. I read the first 60 pages of the book and I didn't need it anymore. What the book says, it's written, it's called Hope and Help for Your Nerves. Write that down. It's a book that's been out for years and years. You're probably going to have to order it, but Amazon has it. I know that's true. Hope and Help for Your Nerves. And her name, the author's name, is Dr. Claire, Claire, Weekes, Weekes. Isn't that something? For the cost that I bought that book, which means at cost, I have sold 200 or 300 copies, 600, I don't know. Tons and tons of them, and I never made a penny. All I did was buy them at the cost, because the bookstore would sell them to me at cost. Then I would sell them to my students and to my clients and to anybody else who needed them. And it made sense to me all of a sudden. I knew that I had a lot of clients who were having anxiety attacks, and because of their shame, did not want me to know. So here's what Dr. Weekes says, but don't think you shouldn't buy the book because you should. Remember no, you don't. I haven't told you about the parent, adult, and child. I just wanted to tell you about anxiety attacks. You need to buy the book. Trust me, buy the book. I don't make any money for it. It costs $8 or $9. I don't know. It's gone up over the years. It used to cost $5, then it cost $6, and on. I think it's up to $9. I don't know anymore. Okay, this is what Dr. Weekes says, and you feel like you're sitting on her lap. She is so nurturing. What a beautiful, beautiful woman she was. She has passed over to the other side now, probably many years ago. And what she says is that what happens when your heart begins to, first of all, it only happens to people who are very sensitive. I know I am, aren't you? My uncle used to have them too. And I used to go with a professional football player. He played for the Steelers. He was a quarterback. He was famous. and he used to have anxiety attacks too. Lest you think that only weaklings have them. It's not true. And as a matter of fact, one of my students was a general in the Army at Fort Ord when I was teaching in Monterey, California. Fort Ord is no longer, it's now a school, but it used to be an Army base, and he was out there. He would come in and take my classes. Okay, a general. And he was having anxiety attacks. But I'll tell you about that in just a moment. So I read the book, only the first 60 pages. When I was done, I went, no, I'm okay now. I know I am. What Dr. Weekes says is that adrenaline is what's causing this, and that adrenaline becomes well-oiled in your body. Well-oiled, and it gets real slippery, and at the slightest provocation, you suddenly find yourself in the midst of an anxiety attack. This is my example. Think of when you were almost in an automobile accident and you pulled over to the side. You had jammed on your brakes and then it stopped, and then you were safe. You pulled over to the side because you were out of breath, you were nervous, your heart was pounding, and your heart pounding went away. But the difference between normal anxiety and well-oiled anxiety that you have and has become an anxiety attack is that when your heart is pounding, you think, what if I have a heart attack? Oh my God, what if I... And the minute you say, what if this happens, you scare yourself again, and again, and again, and again. And that's what an anxiety attack is. You can take all the medication you want, but you'll be on medication for the rest of your life. It's okay. I'm not telling you don't take it. I did not take it. Most of my clients, actually all but one of my clients, did not take medication. And the reason that this one client was because she was already on medication when she came to see me, and she could not get off of it because she had become dependent on taking it. Yes, she was addicted to it, but it was more than that, because if you use the medication, I'm not telling you don't use medication. It's okay. The medication won't hurt you. But I'm giving you an example of how really undangerous this is. I've worked with people who had one fellow came in, he'd been having anxiety attacks for 13 years. And within a few days they were gone. It happened again and again and again. Let me tell you about the general, because he was one of my favorite people. And I guess my ego really liked that I helped the general. After class, every semester or quarter, for those of you who are newer, it used to be called semesters back then. Every semester I saved one night or one day class and told them, my students, about anxiety attacks. And I could be assured that at the end of the class, a fully 1/3 to 1/2 of the class would come up and ask me if I would sell them one of those books. And I always did. Okay, so the general comes up. Really nice guy. I liked him so much. And he said, Lisa, I want you to know this. I have a dresser this big. It's filled with pills, bottles of pills. All the pills I've been given over the years to take care of this, and not one of them has worked. And he said, what you're talking about makes sense. I want your book. So I said, you've got it. He came to school the next week, and he said, I can't believe it. I wasn't totally free of them, but I didn't have to get up every night with my heart pounding. He said, maybe only 2 times instead of every single night. I got to sleep for the first time. He said, I can't believe I've gone through this. Thank you very much. He didn't call me an angel. That was okay. I also think I'm just going to say this. I had one student. He was from the Middle East. He was from Iran or Iraq. I guess Iraq. I don't remember. Tall, really tall. Tall, with piercing eyes, from the Middle East. And I really do believe that I had Osama bin Laden's relative, one of his relatives, in my class. It might have even been Osama bin Laden. I don't remember. I keep on meaning to call the college that I was teaching at and say, why don't you look that student up and see if we didn't have him. He was one of my 3 favorite students. I'm sorry to say that. They were all 3 men, and I really love women as well, but these were just 3 brilliant men. One of them was a fellow from Vietnam who had already gone through school, and he said, I've been at the equivalent of your West Point in my country. I've already been to college, but I need some classes here. So he took one of my classes. I really liked that man. And then the man who reminded me now in this modern time of Osama bin Laden, or certainly one of his relatives. I didn't know that Middle Eastern men were so tall. I liked this guy. And the third was the general. Really liked the 3 of them. Highly intelligent men. And compassionate. All 3 of them. Liked them. Anyway, okay, back to the anxiety attacks. I have sold the book for what I paid for it to so many people, It is so well written. You can buy it. And if you have any problems, I mean, you can write to me, and I'm there for you. But I never had another anxiety attack. Now, I felt like over the years, every once in a while, it's coming, and I go, no, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's well-oiled adrenaline, let it go. I've never had another anxiety attack, and neither will you. I want you to know about it. If you're having any problems, write to me. Okay. Go to my website, thegreatestcomfort.com, because there you will find what my mailing address is, because I forget. And I love you a lot. This was fun. I got to tell you some great old memories. One time, a young woman said, "Stop the plane." They were taxiing off, and it was a large Boeing 747 or whatever. She said, "Stop the plane. I've got to get off." And I mean, she was out of there. And she called me from the airport and said, "They're waiting for me. Tell me what to do. I'm having an anxiety attack." So, anyway, love you lots. This is it. That's the story. That's how easy it is. And you won't have another one, but you need to buy that book. The reason that you need to have your own book is because you can watch this video again and again, but that book hooks into your adult ego state. And that's what you want to do. You want to hook in to your adult ego state. You may not understand that, what I mean by that, but you got to just believe me. You need to buy the book. Reading it will put the information in there. And I used to go back and look at it. I'd feel kind of like I was going to start. So I go get the book and read it again. So, start on page 35. It was okay. This is a wonderful thing. I have never known of anyone to die of an anxiety attack. You must hear me say that. I have never known anyone who has been hurt by them, because it is simply well-oiled adrenaline rushing around in your body. But I would not shame you if it doesn't work for you. I have no shame for you. I have a tremendous amount of respect. I want you to know that I used to go with a Steeler. He had anxiety attacks. Great football player. Love you lots. God bless you. Bye-bye.